Okay, let's get this going. I've been pottering and what I like to call faffing about for a bit, and I should really get this done before things progress too far and I have to get other things done, such as painting a 3D printed Winchester pub, as in from Shaun of the Dead, Winchester pub, which I want to paint up to play Majestic 13. I think a battle with an alien werewolf-esque with a werewolf-esque alien will look awesome in a very much an American Werewolf in London pub type setting, with a nice street, few cars, that werewolf running around, knocking several bells out of the what did I call them? Broken socks? Anyway, Majestic 13. But for now, it is session 8 of Mork Borg, where we left our Harmug in the hills. I try and less, but it's a nice pausing technique to allow your brain to think of new words. So we left Harmug in the mountain in the hills. Harmug had tried to get out of the loud, because it was a deafening storm, I think, if I remember rightly. It rolled a deafening storm. To get out of the storm, Harmug came off of the paved road, which obviously would have emptied because of the deafening storm, to hide in some hills. We rolled goblin infested hills, so we rolled 1 goblin. So as Harmug went under a stony outcrop to hide from the storm, there we go, see, I did so well. He entered a small cave. At the back of the cave there was said Seth the Goblin. Seth the Goblin let fly from his short bow. Now I was just thinking, because I just wrote down the stats for Seth the Goblin. Seth has 6 hit points, has a morale of 7, has ropey skin, so has D2 armor, is carrying a knife, as we saw a very dainty knife in Seth's hand, and a short bow. Now I was going to quickly roll how many arrows. Now for a human, we would have I think it's D6 plus presence. So see, another I'm thinking our goblin can't carry that many arrows. Our goblin would have less arrows. So if it is a crossbow, it's plus D. Oh, it's presence plus 10 arrows. So, all right, we can just half it and say 5. Or we could let's. Hey Oracle. Hey Oracle, does the goblin have more than 5 arrows? 1, yes. Okay, so we'll give him. Ha! He gets plus 1. He can have 6 arrows. Not that I want to keep Harmug alive. Don't get me wrong. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, Aya, they survived till session 9. Just Aya. Harmug has survived what? 3 sessions before this, so 5 sessions. That's 44 minutes in. I haven't done anything yet. So our goblin has 6 arrows. Now, if you don't know about because I didn't until yesterday when we did the last session, a goblin in Mork Borg is a cursed person. All goblins carry a curse. Once, like you, they are now trapped in the prison of their crazed goblin flesh, only their eyes revealing their truth. A ruined mind watching its body prison perform terrible deeds. So if you get attacked by a goblin, the curse is transmitted through the winds of their hate towards you, and whether they hit you or miss you, you are then contaminated with that curse, and you will begin to metamorphosize into a goblin in, I believe, like from memory, it's D6 days after the attack. You will then turn, unless you can catch and kill aforesaid mentioned goblin. So Harmug was a bit lucky. Mind you, if Harmug can kill this, it's 7 dots silver for its head. The 100 is not going to capture it. He needs to kill it. So he could get 20 silver for the dead goblin. Anyway, we enter the action with Harmug just dodging to the side of an arrow that just whizzed by Harmug's face. Notice I'm skimming over the fact that Harmug left Markle to his gruesome death at the hands of spider cultists. And we would now have initiative. Now, Harmug does not have a ranged weapon, so Harmug is going to have to attempt to catch up with this goblin to batter it or to stab it, and Harmug is going to need some lucky hits to get through its 6 hit points in a timely fashion, otherwise this goblin is going to leg it. Now if the goblin legs it, we will play through the days into Harmug's demise and see what happens, because maybe Harmug can find something. If we roll Goblin Heals again, he may stumble across this goblin again. We may give Harmug an opportunity, but for now we will have to roll the initiative. If the goblin succeeds, it will make a dash and do a shot, and then we will make Harmug have to make an agility check to catch up. Maybe we'll do an agility race against the two of them. Harmug having a -2 to his roll because of his armor, but he does have +1 agility, and we'll have the goblin just having base stat. Maybe I'll do that. I just thought of that on the spot. Maybe we'll do an agility race between the two of them. So, initiative. 5. 5 is the player goes first. So, the goblin is at the back of the cave. The goblin has just let loose an arrow, leaving the goblin with 6 arrows. The goblin will be reaching towards a very dirty sort of quiver, or maybe it's got it shoved down the back of its loinclothy thing, so the arrows are all sort of like sweaty goblin backside stained, and Harmug will dart forwards. It's not a very deep cave, with his club and attempt to strike the goblin down with one fell blow. Come on, Harmug. You rolled a nat 1. If you get a nat 20, this could be all over and done with, and you could have saved your own life. So Harmug dives in. Harmug has a +2 strength. 8, 9, 10. Harmug dives in, catches his foot on some shale and smashes his club against the wall just to the goblin's face. The goblin goes, "Ow!" Dodges to the side. Let's see. Goblin will dodge to the side, and then Goblin has his bow out, so probably Goblin will run to dodge around Harmug to get to the cave entrance and get just outside the edge of the cave, and then let loose an arrow at Harmug. Harmug will turn to see this arrow racing towards him, so Harmug has to roll 14 because of the goblin's nimbleness, +2 because of his scale mail being a 16, but he's got an agility of +1, so being a we'll say a 15, so a straight roll of a 15. And the arrow catches Harmug in the upper torso. So we've got a D4 minus a D4. So the damage will be on the green D4. The mitigation will be on the black D4. 1 point goes through. So the arrow just sticks into the scale mail armor, sticking out of the fur cloak and the scale mail. Ah, you little bugger, says Harmug, and the goblin is then outside of the cave. Harmug is the back of the cave, so Harmug is going to set off to attempt to catch this goblin, as the goblin is going to run again and try and let loose another arrow. The goblin isn't going to run and let loose, because then he's not going to be able to hit Harmug, so it's going to let loose an arrow and then attempt to dodge out of the cave and start heading into the hills. It's a lot more nimble on the slippy, sliding, long grass which has been pelted by rain over the last few days. Harmug will of course attempt to dodge this arrow and get caught again by these dirty, filthy arrows that the goblin is letting loose onto Harmug. Another arrow pierces Harmug's armor, entering his flesh with a bite, as the goblin will skitter up. Ah! I'm gonna get you, you goblin! As the goblin will dash off up out of the cave and up the hill. Harmug will attempt to, with all the shale, which is normally on the floor of caves like this, he will scrabble out to the entrance and attempt to catch the goblin. We will give Harmug. Let's do. This could be our agility check. So did the goblin get out further than Harmug can go? I'm imagining he might do. So we'll just have a. We'll have the orange dice is the goblin, and the green dice is Harmug. Harmug will get a -1 because he's got a +2 so he gets the Dero is +2 because of his armor, but he has +1 agility. So what did it say? Orange is the goblin. The goblin gets out of distance from Harmug, further up the hill, and Harmug is going to consume most of his. So as he darted out, went up. Harmug is slipping and sliding. Or maybe I could do it that way. Maybe I could do an agility check for Harmug to catch up, because otherwise Harmug is. I think Harmug's done for anyway. We'll give a few rounds. We'll give like a contest with them attacking each other. If he catches up, he gets to hit him. Say 3 rounds. 3 rounds of this, and then because of the torrential rain and the storm and the slidey mud, and the goblin knows these hills, the goblin's away. So at the moment we have the goblin out of reach but still within, so basically it's like he's 2 arms lengths away. The goblin is going to turn and fire to try and keep this stupid man out of reach. So the goblin turns, fires another shot. Get away! Get away! At our Harmug. Harmug will again attempt to. Evade the arrow, unsuccessfully again. Green is the damage, but the arrow, although penetrates the armor, doesn't pierce into his flesh this time. So he has 2 arrows pierced in the upper chest, and maybe the one has gone through the armor and missed his side on the side, but he can feel the shaft on the side. The goblin will then attempt to retreat away from Harmug. Orange is the goblin. Harmug catches up with the goblin on his turn, just being able to catch the goblin a striking blow. Come on, Harmug. So this is strength, isn't it? So Harmug is a +2, so that would give. So it says DR 14, so that means needs a 14 +2. That's a 13. So that is a miss. That is just a miss. So I might actually burn an omen on this. I might burn an omen because I always forget I've got omens. I might burn. Oh yeah. What can I use an omen for? I can use an omen for what? I think it means I can re-roll. Oh, here we go. Deal maximum damage with one attack. Reroll a dice roll, yours or someone else's. Lower damage dealt to you by d6. Neutralise a crit or a fumble. Lower one test DR. Oh, look, we will lower one test DR by -4, which means we hit. So we will hit the goblin. So that's what we're going to use that for. We have struck the goblin with our club. We will slightly cheat, and we will use the d6 that we know always rolls high for our damage, doing 6 points. And the goblin will mitigate with its ropey skin a d2. So 1 to 3 is 1. Is 1 point. So a massive crack. So Harmug is panicking now because we are part way up the hill, and Harmug has caught this goblin a massive blow against his hip. There's a there's a crack, as we can hear bone fracture, but the goblin, being a goblin and crazed, although injured, isn't hampered. Will scream in agony, and because now Harmug is close enough, will lash out with its knife against Harmug, attempting to catch Harmug across the face with its blade. Harmug attempts to dodge. So what's this? So this is a 16 he needs. Oh no, 15. 12. Miss. The blade slices across Harmug's face. We'll still do the mitigating because that's how this stuff works. D6 is him, doing 2 points of damage. Slicing across Harmug's cheek. Flap of skin comes down and blood starts to come down Harmug's face. At that point, the goblin will again attempt to retreat away. And this is the point where, so the goblin is now retreated away, which is the goblin's move. Is there anything? No, this is simple, isn't it? So there's no sort of like attacks of opportunity. I suppose I could give one because it's attempting to run away. Okay, the goblin will attempt to do an agility check to get away, or Harmug will attempt to stop him from getting away. 10. This is a nimble. So if we took that down to 8, that's a routine. So no, I'm going to say that the goblin wilds away and gets to create some distance, which means that we have another. We have one omen left, which means that we could successfully reach the goblin if I burn that omen. If we fail this check, so this is that was the second round, wasn't it? So the goblin is getting desperate now and scrabbling and clawing at the mud, churning up mud as the thunder racks the skies and the dark clouds and cracks of thunder go across the tops of the hills, lighting up the landscape as these two people desperately fight. The goblin fighting for its life, Harmug fighting for what's left of his humanity. Both are badly injured, blood streaming down Harmug's face. The goblin moving stiffly with its cracked hip. Orange is the goblin. Okay, Harmug rolled a 2. The goblin rolled a 17. I think I will burn that last omen to... What shall I say with it? I could just burn it and say that that the goblin is within reach. Reroll a roll of yours or someone else's. Lower damage dealt to you. Deal because we need it to be, because this is our last turn. This is the last time, and that means the goblin has got away otherwise. So it's rolled a 17. So I re-roll mine. I don't know whether you can do this, but I'm going to burn it. Like, yeah, I don't know if anyone has ever played a story game. So I think Feng Shui has it. Very sort of plot points. I'm burning it to make sure that Harmug has caught up with the goblin, and now we will do an initiative check. And the goblin could go first and potentially kill Harmug. or Harmug. If Harmug hits, then he has definitely can kill the goblin. Harmug goes first. So Harmug, using the last of his luck, catches up with the goblin, attempts to throw himself at the goblin and club the goblin so the goblin can't get away. So we have a strength +2. Come on, Harmug. 19. Yes, Harmug. Good lad. So Harmug has grappled this goblin to the ground. No, I'll roll it, but well, I don't know, because it could mitigate, couldn't it? Harmug does 5. Yeah, Harmug does 5 points. The most it can mitigate is 2, which will then leave 3 hit points going through. So Harmug grabs it by its scrabby hair and starts to pound its head into the mud, churning up the mud, revealing stones. And Harmug just pounds and pounds and pounds until he is. I'm going to be gruesome. So I did say this isn't for children. Until he hears like a coconut cracking, and just like the coconut milk would ooze from the coconut, the brains of this goblin oozes out, and the goblin starts to twitch and thrash and then lay still, with Harmug panting, blood covering his face. Harmug covers up his face, tears some cloth from his shirt and starts to hold it to his face as he grabs the goblin's body and then drags it back down to the cave, and enters the cave, coming out of the storm. Oh my god, this has not been my week, has it? It really hasn't. Oh man, I'm shattered. Oh god, I hurt. He holds to his face. Oh, shall I use one of these potions? Oh, I can't remember what any of them do. Alright. So Harmug's gonna search the body of this goblin, because it is still an old school greens. 65. That's 65 silver. I don't like the idea of this scabby goblin having a small fortune on him. Oh no! All right. Okay, I just thought 65. Okay, so it rolled 65. It rolled 65, and so let's see how to play this, because I just thought, what, there might be something at the back of the cave, mightn't there? So what could we say is worth 65 silver? We won't say it's 65 silver, we'll say it's something worth 65 silver. So what might be worth I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that there is a... Right, okay, so I'm just going to say, I won't bother oracling it. So 65 silver on a goblin makes little to no sense whatsoever. But the goblin was at the back of the cave. The goblin shot at Harmug. Maybe it was because the goblin had either stolen something or found something which is now at the back of the cave, and Harmug has dragged this goblin back to the back of the cave, and will then go to the back of the cave and try and rest out the storm, and we'll say that Harmug sleeps the night here. But what there will be at the back of the cave, in amongst a sort of makeshift smelly pile of leaves and cloth, Harmug is going to find a backpack. And in the backpack there will be a blanket. Basically I'm going to put some stuff in there that will make about 65 cents gold worth. A blanket. What else can we put in there? We could say there's okay, so a lantern oil is 5 silver. Maybe a lantern and lantern oil. I'm treating myself poorly. Mirror is 15 silver. Hey, Oracle, are there any more lockpicks in this bag? 2. Yes, but yes, but half of them are broken. Okay, so how many lockpicks? How many lockpicks do you get in? So lockpicks are 5 silver each. So we will say there are 2d6 worth of lockpicks. I've got lockpicks. I can pick locks. I taught myself to pick locks. 10 lockpicks. So there are 10 lockpicks worth, which is 50 silver. That would be the rest of the money, but half of them are broken. So there are 5 functional lockpicks. So there's a backpack, blanket, and some broken lockpicks, and some functional lockpicks. I don't know. If I was watching this, I'd be up in arms. You're doing what? That's not very random. Would a DM do that? Yeah, a kind DM would. I used to. I used to be a kind DM. I never actually killed a player. I don't remember ever killing a player. I always felt too guilty about killing players. I've killed my own characters multiple times so far. So, Harmug is tired and bruised and feeling awful. He's going to wrap himself in this blanket. Maybe... Oh, I can... If I can get to the village... If I get to, what was it, Vargul's village... I'm going to call it Goblin Chase. Goblin Chase. If I can get to that village... Well, mind you, there's no one in the village. Hopefully. Vargul's village. They might be coming back. I could flog this goblin. And I've got to drag a goblin. Maybe just his head. I'll cut his head off. I'm going to chuck him outside the cave. Oh, that might attract something to come and eat him. Alright, I'll drag him outside the cave. Oh, I wonder if I can use this bow. Oh, God, this is scary. Can I use this bow? Can I use this bow? No, bow broke. Bow broke in the fight. Bugger. God, my head hurts. Alright. I'm going to chuck him outside the cave. And then I'm going to go to sleep. Alright, I've had enough of today. I'm off to sleep. So, he will move the goblin outside the cave. And then he is going to attempt to do a camp. He's going to attempt to make himself camp. Maybe secure the entrance of this cave a bit. Set something up in front of the entrance of the cave to make sure that he can hear anyone coming. Can you still see everything? So the screen turns itself off. So this is a proper camp because he's going to need to camp properly because he really needs to regain some hit points. If we camp, so he's going to have a good drink, eat a dose of his food. He will get to re-roll his omens and restore his powers and use 1 ration, but he needs to roll DR12. A natural 1 and an 18. That's a weak hit. So on a weak hit, it restores 1 omen, which puts him back to 1 omen. I think that only means he gets 1 omen instead of D2 omen. Oh, okay, do you re-roll your omens every night? Alright. Restores a D4 hit points. 2 points. So that puts him onto 5 hit points. I don't think, that just little skirmish with the goblin, that's not enough to go on. 1 power. Oh, I'm not bloody using those scrolls again, not unless it's a right desperate situation. Or the telekinesis one and a fireball one, and although I don't want to blame other people for my own downfall, my own stupidity, I'm pretty sure it was only because of that scroll that God got himself done in. Bloody stupid God. He had 6 silver on him. I could have had that. I was going to have that as well. I could always go back and see if they left it anywhere. Sneak in. Hopefully they've all gone off somewhere. I don't know, gone worshipping or something. Stupid life. And then he'll eat 1 of his rations, leaving him with 4 rations of berries and bits of grass and stuff. Maybe he can do like that grass damper where you grind up the grass seeds and make damper bread. And he has a very, very disruptive night. Did something eat that body outside? Yes, but they left a whole chunk of bits. Did they leave the head? Yes, but only half of it. So as Harmog gets up in the morning, he goes to start a new day. Let's move all these out of the way. use this clear one. Is this the clear one with a little... No, they've got a clear one with a little bit of gold in it. So this is for our next day calendar, a 5. So and we avoid another misery. Let's see how the weather has turned today from the storms. We have an 8. Our storms have turned into a thick mist rolls off the hills. Reducing visibility to only about 20 or so feet. Harmug will have to roll his presence to get off the hill and back onto the road. Otherwise, I might say that Harmug is lost in the hills and will spend the majority of the day trying to get onto the hill. But still will roll all the same sort of journey travelling distances, and we'll still say he's travelled forwards a day's worth of travel. But it will be off the road, so we'll tweak what it is. So Harmug is going to... Where's the DC? Here we go. Harmug will roll presence. He's got a DR of 14 because it's going to be quite difficult. Harmug is lost in the hills, doesn't find the road, and continues wandering around the hills. So in the hills. But he's still going to attempt to move forwards with his journey. Which will be... Oh, let's see if he finds a hill people settlement. Nope, 2. That's all. He needs to roll a 1 for that. So he is travelling. We've got events by road, but we'll see what happens. This is a D20. Day 20, isn't it? A 12. Oh, they seek to say, I couldn't understand what this was saying. So 12 is a religious procession of flagellants and hermits. They seek to see him, but lost their way. Okay, so that's probably why they're up in the hills. There's D. Oh, we could do that. Let's see, because this might be. There's a whole load of them, which is this one here. How many of these are there? This could be that there's like quite literally thousands of people wandering around in this hill, the hills that Harmug will bump into during the course of today's travel. All of them are these hermits who are lost in the hills. They all basically followed each other, or it could just be a couple of them. 4, yeah. So during the day, Harmug will keep bumping into and avoiding collections of goosebump covered, freezing cold looking, dirty loincloth, dirty clothes, hitting themselves with chains and books and tea trays, which I think is from, I can't remember what that's from. Maybe it's from The Life of Brian. Could be. In amongst these hills, the hills outside to the north of Galgenbreck, as he continues to travel, attempting to continue travelling, whenever he sees a glimpse of the sun, trying to head in the right direction towards Graven Tosk, and keep heading north. The day goes, because we didn't encounter anything major, we are going to roll a D12 on the leaves the road after a half day's journey, because he is actually off the road. That was a rubbish roll. 4. Oh, interesting. A pre-human gods lichen covered temple. So whilst wandering around the hills, I could roll a dungeon. that's what it could be. If this is a temple, we could see. We could just roll. We could just see what we roll, because I can imagine. I've got actual some terrain up there, which is exactly as I'm picturing it. So we have some collapsed right up in the hills. So Harmug has got a bit bored of going. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I don't know where the road is. Stop asking me. All right. Yeah, all right. To all of these flagellants and hermits all day long. That by the end of the day, as it's been dark and overcast and misty most of the day, but every now and then the sun will come out, and by the point where Harmug knows that he's travelled for quite a long time, he's stopped and had some snacks, he's had a rest, he's drunk some water, but he's definitely travelled a distance, but he feels that he's gone further up into the mountain, to the hills. He stumbles across some craggy parts, which he has to climb over some rocks and move through some dead trees and some fallen down trees, and comes upon a sort of, he can make out more sort of like angles of rocks that don't seem natural, that seem more man-made, and there are some collapsed pillars and the small form of a when you lay stones, a stone built like an old stone wall, which is just the rocks are laid, so there's no mortar or anything holding the stones together. It's just the weight and the stones being placed together, which has been fallen down in time. And this is the bit, it's like, how big is it? So we could roll, is it still active? Is there an imminent danger? So this is the same as the sort of, oh yeah. Is that this, where we've got a mini delve thing? That's this, isn't it? A micro. Is that this, or am I thinking of something else? A micro crawl. Because if this is a micro crawl, if this is the thing I'm thinking of with a micro crawl. Let's do a micro crawl. Trying to take it. Right, here we go. There may be some situations where you need to pass through hostile terrain, but delving into a full-blown dungeon seems inappropriate. This is where a linear microcrawl is a useful solution. I think we've done a microcrawl. I think that's what killed. We were doing a microcrawl with Nargel, which was the where she died. Okay, so we are going to say that this, because here we go. You have rolled a monastery on the overland travel events. You use a yes/no oracle to determine whether the inhabitants are hostile. Okay, so what we're going to say is that we've rolled a this is a lichen covered temple. So we have a lichen covered temple which Harmug is going to explore, and we will see what Harmug comes across. I think I've got a sheet for microcrawls. If this is really causing noise in the microphone, I feel very foolish. City crawls, more city crawls. There's more road maps. Microcrawls. Here we are. Here we are. I did do one before. Okay. We have okay, site. Lichen covered temple. Roll, yeah, so to understand micro, simply roll a d4 to determine how many waypoints the microcrawl comprises. Okay, what could it be? One? Do excuse me. Alright, d4. We'll use this one. 1. So it says, so it's got a 4 and a 3. So let's count that as a D2 plus 2. That would be a 3, wouldn't it? To how many waypoints a microcrawl can power crisis? One's not a microcrawl. You don't crawl through one thing. Just walking against agility seems too shallow. Okay, so we are going to attempt to explore a 3-part microcrawl, which is going to be going into this temple and having a bit of an explore around it. We'll say that there are 3 rooms. Determine each waypoint as they are encountered. Okay. Next, use the dungeon descriptor oracles, excluding the room exits table, to determine each waypoint as they are encountered. Most room types should have an appropriate analogue for your current environment, be they outdoors or indoors. If the room type does not apply, then concentrate on the room adjective. Sorry, I think I did that last time. And apply it to the location that feels thematically appropriate. Common and rare encounters are handled on the fly using a microcrawl, but you might like to use the stock creatures and yes no oracle further help make decisions. Alright, okay. So we need our dungeon room descriptors and we need our stock creatures. So, I mean, we've had a lot of zombies in this game, but on this list there are a few things. Regional creatures. Oh, we could use the region. Alright, we're going to use the regional creatures from Eat, Pray, Kill for this area, which is Sarkesh. And these are going to be the regional creatures, D6 Sarkesh creatures, for if we roll for there to be a creature in this room. And we've got, yep, okay, so we need a D20, a D12 and a D12 as Harmug is going to come out of the mist. What time do we have? Yep, I've got enough time to do this. Harmug is going to come out of the mist and enter the first part. He's carrying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's carrying, let's say, does a backpack can't count as a piece of equipment, does it? He's got it all in the backpack, and he is carrying the blanket as well. So he might need, if he finds anything good, he's going to have to dump some stuff. Mind you, I think if he gets hit once, he's going to have to down this elixir. Put the tiara on. Okay, D20, D12, D12. We are going purple D12, green D12. So we have 14, 7, 6, which means our first, and I'll show you the picture, which means our first, my bad pencil, a good pencil. 14, crowded, busy. So our first room is crowded, busy. So it could be that there's lots of fallen down stones or lots of vines that have grown or filled this space full of just lots of things, lots of stone, lots of vines that either Harmog will have to move out the way, so we'll give him a strength test to move them out of the way, or an agility check to get through, possibly. 7 is chamber clearing. Yep, okay. And 6, what is in here? We have a common encounter. A common encounter. So we have an animal. Yeah, okay. So common will be there. So all right. Well, let's roll to see what that is, and then we'll decide what is in this room. A 3 is carrion owls. Only eat what died the night before. It has 2 hit points. Has no morale whatsoever, and it's got bite claws. So we will have... Okay, so and this inside, maybe we will say that this room is full of rocks. Okay, let's say this room is... This is entering the entrance of the temple. This is me attempting to draw stones. Inside there are lots of piled up rocks, collapsed columns rather, and vines. And as Harmug is attempting to clamber over those to get through a door at the far side that he can see goes into another room, he puts his foot into what he thinks is just a bush of bits of bracken and bits of scavenged twigs and scavenged leaves that have all been piled up. And at that point there's a high-pitched screech. It's not very... I don't think it's very clear, but there's this back there is the door. I can see through it. There is the door that Harmug will come through. Then we've got some different stones, some vines, and this cluttered, busy room, and a door at the far side that Harmug is heading towards. That's where a carrion owl will rise up from amongst the trees, spreading its wings, scratch out at Harmug, and then dash out of the door. Harmug can eat this, so we will give it an attack. If it hits Harmug, Harmug is going to reel back out of shock. Harmug dodges it. No, because he has a DR +2, so that would need a 14. So that gives him a miss. So it gets a claw attack on Harmug, doing 2 points of damage, which then 1 point gets through, so scratching Harmug across the face. Now, because it hit Harmug, I'm going to say that Harmug gets gouged by this owl, and Harmug will be surprised, i.e. ambushed, and the owl is going to get out the door, just scaring the heck out of Harmug as it retreats away. And Harmug is tends to go, oh my god! Oh my god! Oh! I wonder if it left any eggs. Harmug will dig around and see if he left any eggs. Did the owl have any eggs? Yes, but Harmug had accidentally trod on them as he went through. Oh god! Oh, this doesn't bode very well for me, does it? Alright, onwards and downwards. Harmug will stick his head through that next entrance and attempt to see what else is in this place. We have 11, 2. We have our next room is 11, is an empty, deserted room. 11. It's an empty. It's basically this room being so cluttered. It seems quite weird, as this is an almost empty room with the walls are quite perfect. There's just gentle bits of dust and dirt and shale on the floor. Okay. And 2 is remains of something, a structure, object, a once living thing. There is a let's say it's basically an almost empty room, and then weirdly sitting in the middle of the room, cross-legged but collapsed in upon itself, there is the cow-clad skeleton, which has just collapsed in upon itself, as though it sat here and then just fell apart. Oh no! this is an awful drawing. First off, I was going to draw a skeleton which had fallen down, and then I thought, like, why would the naked skeleton be sitting in the floor? It's going to be wearing clothes, so that would be cow covered. So that basically, to anyone but me, just looks like some strange person has just scribbled in the middle of a piece of paper. But really, if you kind of squint and turn your head about 45 degrees, it still looks like someone scribbled in the middle of a piece of paper. Oh, someone died here. Oh, another person other than me would be quite respectful of this, but I wonder what's in it. So Harmog will dig into this body, and if I roll 60 or above 60, I'm just going to ignore it and roll again. There is no way that there is actual treasure on this body. Purples, 61. No, that would be 61 silver. No. 52. What's 52? 52. Oh, alright, that actually works. It says 52 is a labelled poison bottle. Labelled poison bottle. Test toughness DR12 or lower random ability by D4. The ability can be increased when your character is improved. A labelled it's a bottle of poison. It's a bottle of poison, but I will say it's an empty bottle of poison, because that's why this body is a body, because whoever was sitting here took the poison. Oh, they poisoned themselves. Whew, that's a bit of a surprise. I thought they'd sat here and prayed themselves to death. Harmog will then move on and have a look through that last bit. This is in the hills, wasn't it? D20, D12, D12. So I've got a green D20 now, but we'll go purple, green on the D12s. Got a 16, a 10, and a 7. And the final part of this has a 16. It's rustic or simple. I'm going to choose simple. We have a simple 10. Workshop, library, forge. Library? It's meant to be a temple. Workshop, library, forge. Forge doesn't really work, but what does 7? 7 is a common encounter. Alright, let's roll what our common encounter creature is, and then we'll decide whether it's a workshop or a forge or something. Let's use this. For the tiny attacks and defense DR14 throat cutter warbler has the sharpest beak and the best aim of all Sarkashi's birds. Okay, we will have a nest of 2 throat cutter warblers, in which case I might make it a library. I might say that this was a very small, simple library. The books have decomposed and fallen apart in time, where another set of birds have created a nest. These being throat cutters, throat cutting warblers. So these quite small birds are clearly in a nest and are startled by Harmug stomping his way into a simple library. That's quite easy to draw, isn't it? That's just a series of symbolised by a series of, oh, I'm hungry, a series of books and a nest and a bird, which I'm actually am quite artistic, but obviously not when it comes to drawing. Look, that's the throat cutter bird with its sharp beak. We're going to have a simple exchange between Harmug attempting to smack a bird on the noggin and a bird attempting to dart at Harmug's throat. It can do a D10. It could absolutely kill. He's got an omen, so he might have to burn. If he gets hit by this bird, he might have to burn that. So first off, we'll have initiative. Hopefully he gets to hit the bird. Initiative. cheating, use the high rolling dice, but it fails. So the birds dart out at Harmug, attempting to catch Harmug in the throat. Harmug will attempt to evade the birds. He has a DR 14 to evade, so he doesn't evade the first bird or the second bird. Both birds get to Harmug. Is Harmug going to die here? He's got 4 hit points left. The first bird does 10 hit points, and Harmug is going to burn his omen to mitigate all that damage. So the bird darts forwards and he's about to hit Harmug in the throat, and via luck Harmug comes down and it catches his shoulder. It's coming off the edge and then darting out of the room. The other one I want a really low rolling d10. The other one is going to do 3 hit points. Oh, that leaves him on 1 hit point unless his armor catches 2 of it. The next one doing only 1 hit point, putting him down to 3 hit points, will, because it didn't do a massive amount of damage and then get avoided, it's still in the room, and I will allow Harmug attempt to smack this hovering bird as it darts, slices a thin line across his throat, and then as it comes away, Harmug will attempt to catch it. If Harmug hits it at all, he's going to kill it and get himself dinner for tonight. So he needs to roll. He's got a +2 on his strength, which means he needs to roll 14. So he needs to roll 12 or more. An 11. He just whiffs as the bird turns and then darts out of the room, leaving. Harmug going, oh. I saw my life flash before my eyes just then. That was a close call. That was a close call. If anyone ever had a close call, I just had a close call. And he's going to search this room, and then I think he might smash the hell out of this nest, barricade up the door as best he can, and then sleep here. And continue on his day's journey at the beginning of next day. So first he is going to search around in here. Shall we do a corpse plunder? Is there anything that we've got, like something more interesting that we can find? A table of interesting things. Let's have a table of interesting things. No. So it's not going to find an occult treasure in here, is he? I don't know. I'm tempted to get, like, say, is there? It's very 50-50. This it's very unlikely. So it needs to roll a 1 to be an occult treasure in here. No, there is no occult treasure in here. Instead, he finds. What does he find? What does he find? He finds something 42. Oh, I found a little bottle. An unmarked bottle with liquid that shifts between red and green. That's very interesting. Do you know what? Oh, fireball scroll though, but I like that liquid though. That's that liquid. Do you remember? Because I've got that other one, the blue liquid with the sparkles in it. That's going to give me some nice party time hallucinations. I'm not going to get rid of that one. I've got a scroll of telekinesis, and I've got a scroll of fireball, which terrifies the living doobies out of me. I don't think I want to get rid of anything I've got just to carry this. Alright, I'll just leave it here. I'll think about it in the morning. Harmug will then attempt to secure the room and bed down for the night here, and continue on his travels on the morrow. So this was day 7. Thick mist in the hills. Found an old temple filled with birds. if he gets disturbed in the middle of the night, it might be the birds coming back, and we might have to have one last little tete-a-tete with the birds before we sign off and I make myself some dinner. 16 and 4, so that means he gets a disturbed night's sleep, which I will say is the birds coming back. So he will recover a D4 hit points, 2, putting him on 5 hit points. Or what if I roll on that? Nah, because we're in the temple, aren't we? We'll just say it's the birds coming back trying to find their nest. He will get 1 omen back, which he will need, because if these birds are doing a D10 damage on him, there's a potential that he's gonna die. And he uses up 1 lot of rations, leaving him with 3 rations left. And in the middle of the night, he hears some scrabbling, and then is awoken by something diving at him. But he just wakes up in time to see this flutter of wings and rolls to the side in very much a Sand People attacking Luke manner. It goes into the bedding next to him. I'm going to say so plus, so he's got, I'm going to say that he misses both of them, though strictly speaking he doesn't with that one. And then we will have a brief exchange and the birds will dash away. So let's roll an initiative. The birds go first. So Harmug, so they're fast, but it's dark, so they're missing. So that would give Harmug a 14, but he does have the scale mail, so I'm going to say that Harmug misses that one. They miss Harmug on that one. Harmug dodges, and Harmug dodges that one. And let's see if Harmug can hit one of the birds. If he can hit one of the birds, the other one will run away. Natural 20. Okay. The luck turns on Harmug's side as one of the birds comes diving in. They only have 1 hit point. Harmug will lash out with the blanket that he's been using, which envelops one of the birds, and he will then knock it against the wall as the bird falls limp, and the other bird, who we will say, what does a dash for morale mean? That they don't have morale, like they'll always keep attacking. Alright, it will always keep attacking. It will then turn to come and try and attack Harmug. It gets an attack. This could kill Harmug. I'm going to say this could severely damage Harmug. It hits Harmug, doing 7 hit points. Harmug mitigates 2 hit points, which does 5 hit points. Harmug was on 5 hit points. That puts Harmug on 0 hit points. So Harmug collapses, and the bird will fly away, because I don't think, you know, it doesn't eat the dead, it just attacks someone who's in its home. And Harmug is on 0, so Harmug is broken. Oh, I don't want him to die though. This seems a bit of a dodgy way to die. He was asleep. I mean, he's got a healing potion, so we can say that as long as he doesn't die, he doesn't die. That's a 1. That's awesome. I didn't even have to cheat. It was true. Fall unconscious for D4 rounds. Awaken with the D4 hit points. So he will awaken in the morning with a splitting headache on 4 hit points. With a bird, I'm going to give him 1 extra Nah, it's going to be crushed. That was. He's not going to get any carrion. Not going to get any food out of that one. With a bad night's sleep, splitting headache, 4 hit points, a dead bird in a blanket, which has got his blanket all dirty and muddy. There's dirt and mess all over the place. Got a cracking headache, and he's going to have to start the new day next time round. Because for now, as Harmug has got his headache, I'm hungry and I'm going to have some dinner, and that's job done.